Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with Jennifer Hudye, who is the founder of Vision Driven. And if you have found along the lines that you're not fully on board with your vision, or you don't have a compelling enough vision to pull you through some of the resistance or the kind of ick of building a business, this is the conversation for you. You're going to love this. I'll introduce you more properly to Jennifer in just a moment, but Jen, I'm so glad to have you here.
So grateful, Sage.
Oh, it's going to be an awesome convo. So Jennifer is the founder of Vision Driven, which is a group of companies focusing on helping entrepreneurs clarify and communicate the vision and message they're here to bring to the world. She's a frequent guest speaker at top entrepreneurial events like Genius Network, Entrepreneurs Organization, Traffic and Conversion, TedX. Past clients include people like Tony Robbins, Joe Polish, Strategic Coach, and Bulletproof Coffee. If you've heard of any of those, you can tell already that Jen is a total rock star. Her current company has helped over 500 companies go through the vivid vision process, where she's partnered with Cameron Herold to help entrepreneurs and CEOs clarify and communicate their 3-year vision so they can attract top talent, align their team, create key partners and vendors, and stay focused and motivated. Many of their clients are 7, 8, and 9-figure companies, including brands like ClickBank, bookkeepers.com, fulfillment.com, and Happy. Jennifer grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, started her first company at age 13 alongside her sister and 2 cousins, and has sold 2 companies for 6 and 7 figures. And she did that by the time she was 19 years old. You could say that entrepreneurship is in this gorgeous woman's blood. And that's why I think she's so committed to helping entrepreneurs connect and communicate and bring forth their vision to the world. And Jen, I just think that this is the answer to so many of the struggles that entrepreneurs have, especially when they're getting their business off the ground. And can you tell us a little bit about what vivid vision is and why you've continued to orient your whole life toward doing this?
Yeah. Well, vivid vision, the concept of vivid vision is something I partnered with Cameron Herold. And the idea is that as entrepreneurs, our number one responsibility in our organization, even above, getting clients or aligning the team or making payroll or whatever it may be, is to be the vision holder of the company, is to hold a future of possibility and to be a stand for that possibility, no matter the situation, circumstance, or challenge that comes up. And the vivid vision is actually a tool that paints a clear and vivid picture of exactly what you see in your mind. I kind of joke it makes a vision board look like watered down lemonade because it's a combination of both the pictures that you see of your vision, but also the language and the story. Like, what is the story of your future as if it's already happened? That's a vivid vision. And we now know from, modern day science that when it comes to whether it's, quantum physics or even just how our brain works when it comes to visualization, that our subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is imagined and what's real. And so the more that we can paint a clear and vivid picture of the future that we actually want to visit, the more likely we're able to get there.
Awesome. I could not agree more. And you just said so much, I don't even know where to start. But one of the things I'm really interested in is how do we get even more clear? Because when I work with my clients, I think one of the things that they're getting hung up on is, well, there's so many different things that I kind of want, and I don't totally know what's possible for me. And it's like their vision gets wrapped up in their resistance or their trauma or their wounds. And this happens to me too. It's like, how do we give ourselves permission to dream bigger and see, taste, touch, and feel it when we have our own stuff wrapped into that?
This is one of my favorite topics. So when it comes to first getting clarity on your vision, I view it from an inner lens and an outer lens. So the first, and something that I believe with every cell in my body is that similar to an oak tree, like an acorn has all of the DNA in it to become and grow into a big oak tree. Does it mean that it will? No, there's a whole lot of oak trees that are on the ground that don't actually turn into an oak tree. However, if it's planted and it has the right water, the right nutrients, the right sunlight, it will grow. And the same thing is for us as humans, is I believe each one of us has been planted an inner vision that's already there inside of us. But what happens is as we go throughout our life, there's all of these invisible blocks that they're just in the way of the truth that's underneath and there. So when it comes to gaining clarity, we first need to remove the blocks. And after guiding thousands of entrepreneurs through this process, I found that there's about 6, maybe 7 invisible blocks that show up. Can I share them with you?
I would love it.
Okay. So the first one is pretending not to know what you want. And it's this sneaky little game that we play with ourselves, because oftentimes pretending not to know is a really convenient cover up for avoidance. And so we just play and sing the same song in our head of like, oh, well, I just don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know. But secretly we do. And when if everything boiled down to it, we would know. And the question that you want to ask yourself if you're caught up in this is, what would I love? Like, what would I really love? And that oftentimes will help you get through the noise and to the core of what's alive for you. The second block that I see, and this is so common, especially for women, is being concerned of what other people will think. And so you allow yourself to dream for a moment. Oh my gosh, I would love to do this in my business. But then it's like your mother's voice comes in your mind, or that teacher that told you that you weren't good at blank. And then suddenly you pretend that you don't know, but really you're afraid of what other people will think. And so from there, the third one is not allowing yourself to want more. And oftentimes this is rooted in guilt. And how it may show up is people will say, oh, I'm just grateful for what I have, as if being grateful and wanting more or somehow they can't be combined. But if we look at something like nature, we can see that we are designed, everything that is alive is always seeking to express greater versions of itself. And so we will pretend not to know what we really want because we're afraid that somehow we're going to offend someone, or by us getting more, other people will get less, which isn't true if we're operating from our gifts and our capabilities that we're here to live into.
So good. So good. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm writing them down. So yes. Pretending not to know, concerned what other people will think, not allowing ourselves to want more. What else you got?
Number 4 is getting caught up in the how. Mm-hmm. This is probably the most common one overall that I see in entrepreneurs. Is they say that they're not clear of their vision because they're like, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, and how am I going to attract all of those clients, or what's the funnel going to be, or what's this? And the example that I often give is, if you and I decide that we're going to go on a trip right now and we pull up an airline site, what are the 3 questions that the airline site asks us before it can show us any of the routes?
When we want to go.
Yep.
Where we want to go.
Yep.
And whether we want to fly first class or coach.
Yeah, I would say that's like the 4th one, but totally. Exactly. It's when do we want to go? What are the dates?
Yeah.
And then where are we wanting to fly from?
Right. Yeah. Where's our starting destination?
Yeah.
That's important. It's
And
important in
super
vision,
important.
right? Because like where you're starting from matters.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
where you're going matters.
Exactly. And then from there, it will be able to show us all of the hows, all of the different routes on how it may get there. But if you just plug in where you want to go, or excuse me, if you don't plug in where you want to go, it doesn't know where to route you to.
Right.
And so that the same thing happens with our vision. And I prefer using 3 year increments. I've found that when I've studied with Olympic trainers to spiritual trainers to business trainers, it's like the rule of 3. And the reason why is because it's far enough out that you can dream big, but also close enough where you can get vivid with it and be able to reverse engineer that how. But if you're getting caught up in the how, it's because you're premature on, but before you got to get clear of the what and the why first.
Mm-hmm.
So after getting caught up in the how, number 5, I see this for very ambitious people, is they're afraid that they're going to cap themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so they won't put something down because they think, oh my gosh, if I write down that I want to make $1 million in my business, does that mean that I'm closing myself off from 2 million? If I say that I want to speak on these stages, does it mean that I'm saying no to these ones? Mm-hmm. And the shift here is to remember that, of course, that we're going to have a greater lens of where we're at as we begin the climb. But if we're not going to begin the climb because we don't have all of the data and information, then we're stalling. So it's saying, okay, from where I'm currently at right now, this is what I can vision. This is what I can see. And I'm going to hold it lightly and say this or something even better still. This or something even better still. And so when I get going and I start to see my progress and I have a different lens in which I can see things from, then maybe I can clarify it and grow it. So feeling like you're capping yourself is a common one of not getting clarity. And then number 6 is too much to choose from. I call this vision FOMO, where to your point earlier, where it's like, I have all of these different ideas. Which one do I start with? And then they won't write down anything because they feel like, it's like a smorgasbord. And often what I share here is everything in the world is interconnected. Just start with the one that, that's why it's important to also look at where are you currently at? Maybe you have some momentum going in one area that can help you start to bring aspects of the vision to life. And then you can weave in other elements here and there, but begin it. Don't stall out because there's too much to choose from. And then likely it'll all begin to interconnect somehow. Right. And then there's a 7th one, which is afraid to know.
Afraid to know. I was going to ask where that comes in, because sometimes it's like, I want to know, but I don't want to know. And if I know, then that makes me responsible.
That's right.
Yeah.
The responsibility for the knowing. And lately, I've been giving talks a lot of different places, and this is the one that's been coming up the most. And people are scared that what if I have to sacrifice? And they'll go to extremes, my health or my relationships. Right. And that's where really honing in on what you value most is. And when it's your true vision and your true dream, yes, there will be sacrifices, but you get to choose what those are and making sure you're not sacrificing the things that you value most. And that's where we get to stretch and evolve. But all of those 7 blocks are really the inner blocks that stand in the way of that clarity.
Beautiful. So beautiful. And I can see how every single one of these plays itself out, how I've been within all 7 of these at different points in my life. Sometimes there might be 1 or 2 that you're grappling with. So I invite you to reflect on those 7 and really ask yourself, which 1 or 2 do I need to keep moving through? Because when we allow ourselves to want what we want, in my experience, mountains get moved. Like, I never in a million years thought I'd stand on the TedX stage or have Hay House publish my book. And I'm sure Jennifer in a million years never imagined that Tony Robbins would be her client or that she'd be standing on stage in front of thousands of people. And I think there's something to be said for the courage that it takes to really orient toward the vision. And so I'm curious, Jen, like, what's your experience in, can you help us understand the process of getting clear and calling upon that courage that it takes to stand in that clarity?
Mm-hmm. Whew. Yes, it is courageous indeed. I think so. The first and most important question, which I learned from a colleague and mentor of ours, a mentor for me over the last 7 years, Mary Morrissey, which is, what would I love? What would I really love? And building and starting to clarify the vision from that place, because often what we forget is that 99% of the journey is the journey. It's the quest. And so making sure that we are not only in love with the end outcome and the vision, but we're also in love with who do I need to become in order to bring this vision forth. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that can be confronting, and especially for entrepreneurs, where, I'll speak from my own experience, where I was in a pivotal moment in my business where I was like, okay, I can go this way or this way. Mm-hmm. And then I had to ask myself, okay, let me play out these two journeys into these two destinations. Mm-hmm. Which one am I more excited about growing into as a leader and as a human? Do I want to learn how to become the CEO and learn how to inspire and motivate team members and become really savvy at my financials and love looking at a balance sheet? Like, do I want, or do I want to simplify and just really hone in on my craft and become really, really good at high ticket sales, but then serve in a coaching capacity as much as possible? And both can maybe get me to the rough destination in a way, but they're going to be different journeys. So I think after asking what would I love, number 2 is, am I in love with who I get to become as a result of that?
So which did you choose?
I chose the path of really wanting to learn to be an epic CEO. Yeah. I was just like, do I want to learn how to be a phenomenal leader in this lifetime? Yeah. Yes. What is the vision that would need to be on the line in order for me to become that version? Like, yes, let's do it. And let me tell you, it is confronting. It is, isn't it?
Woof! I've been in the fire too, girl.
Yeah.
And I see the fruits of your labor in your face, just how you are taking your seat right now. And Jen, you and I met each other years ago, and we were both kind of growing and figuring it out. And it feels even different to sit with you now. Mm-hmm. And I'm just loving the yes that you've cultivated inside yourself, the alignment that you've cultivated inside yourself. And I can imagine that when you're connected with, even though it might be hard, even though I might not know how all the time, even though I might have to deal with some things that I don't always want to have to deal with, I'm choosing to be an epic CEO, to be an epic leader. That's my choice. Yes. And that empowers us through those rough, kinky moments. I'm walking through my own version of that right now. And I'm curious, what would you say to women who are like, okay, or, any humans that are watching this all sounds great, but like, as I keep walking, what about that? What about those moments when I think, oh, but maybe I want that other thing instead?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Such a good question. And I want to back up for a moment, because you brought up a really important piece, which was it being a choice. So that's why I think it's so, like, vision is the beginning of everything, because we got to be aligned, motivated, connected, in love with the vision, and then recognizing that it's a choice to then walk the path to bring it forth. And by spiritual law, anything that is not aligned to that vision is going to come up to be released and transformed. And how it's going to show up is situations, is circumstances, is challenges. It's like going to the gym and lifting up the heavy weight. We don't get pissed off when we're doing bicep curls because it's like, oh, this is so heavy. You know, it's like when we know it's a choice to pick up the weight and say, I'm going to get stronger as a result of this. That is the choice when we start to pursue our vision. And the benefit of it and the fruits of it is realizing it and the confidence that comes with that and the certainty and the spiritual growth and just that feeling of like, yeah, I can realize these things that I had no idea how to do. So that's why I think that that first piece is so freaking important.
It's critical.
And yet, so then it's like, okay, when we're in the middle of it and we start to question, do I really want this? I have made up a rule for myself that I don't quit when it's really, really hard. And that is a rule for myself because I know that the transformational process, usually the biggest breakthroughs come after the biggest breakdowns. And I only make decisions of if I'm actually going to pivot my vision from a neutral place. So the more I can get in the energetics of neutrality, where it's not dramatic and like, oh, I'm going to quit or like, oh, I can't do. It's like, you know, I made a very big business transition last year and I had built a business for 7 years, became like the most well-known copywriting agency in the space. But it was a lot of time just sitting in inquiry and really attuning and being like, no, this chapter is complete. And there wasn't the emotional ties to it. I didn't make the decision on a whim. It was thought out, considered, and then I moved. So I would just say, if you notice that and you're constantly in this dance of the push and the pull, I hate to be the one to say it, but it's drama.
It is. It is drama with a capital D. Mm-hmm. I hope you're taking notes. Don't quit when it's hard. Don't pivot your vision because it's hard. Pivot from a place of, oh, maybe there's something off about this. And I've been feeling that for a while and I want to deliberately shift, but don't pivot just because it's hard. I can't even imagine where I'd be if I had pivoted when it was hard. It's like my biggest feelings of self-love and contribution. And my biggest doors have opened right on the other side of me burning through something where I'm like, I can't believe I'm having to show up for this right now. Mm-hmm. It's hard. I'm tired. I'm losing sleep. There's pressure. There's team issues. There's client stuff, whatever it is. Like if that had taken me off my game, I would have missed out on the biggest goal of my life. And I can imagine you would say the same, like who you get to become in the process of walking through the challenges and letting that burn away is like why we're here. It's why our souls chose to be in this life in the first place. And I just honor that we get to be sitting here talking about vision and how pain pushes until vision pulls. And Jen, you and I could talk about this all day long and the next day and all the way into next week, and I'd still have questions for you. So I know that there's so much more that you have to offer. I brought you in to work with my team a few years ago. And on the heels of that, we had our most successful launch because you helped us really get clear on who we were serving and how we were serving them. You helped me get really aligned. How can we get more from you? I know that you have a gift that can help us really design the future of our businesses and our vision. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So in the creation of the Vivid Vision, I created something called the Vivid Vision Mind Map. And what it is a series of questions and question prompts that you can ask yourself in 12 key areas of your business to start to hone in on exactly what your 3-year vision is for the future. So it'll ask things like, okay, let's imagine it's December, 3 years into the future, you're reflecting back. What are you known for in the world when it comes to your business? Do you have a team? If so, what does your team look like? Your culture, your core business activities, your financials, and so that you can start to crystallize that vision and start to gain clarity, and then also be able to communicate it. Because I think a big part of my contribution in this space around vision is not only getting the clarity of it, being able to effectively communicate it, because then that's where you can gain momentum of allowing others to be able to support you, having your team be able to support you, your JV partners, your vendors, your partners, they're able to see what it is you're building and want to rally around you. And as women, especially, I think sometimes we have this mentality of we got to do it on our own. And I know so much of your work, Sage, has been teaching around collaboration. And this is a tool that you can use for the collaboration of helping people realize your vision with you.
I love this. I'm going to pop this link in for the podcasters' show notes, for social media watchers into the comments, but vividvisionmindmap.com. That's vividvisionmindmap.com. And I highly recommend you guys go and download that, because Jennifer Hudye, I like to call her Hudye sometimes. She's a freaking genius. And I wish I was even half as wise as you are when I was your age. And thank you for bringing so much light and love to this conversation. And for every single one of you, that a reminder that your vision can be your guiding force, that your vision is bigger than your to-do list, that your vision is something that feels so aligned with just what would you love? What would I love? And so that's your assignment. Go download the mind map, vividvisionmindmap.com. Keep asking yourself, what would you love? And let that vision pull you through the hard spots. And Jen, is there anything you want to leave our people with?
The most important piece of advice that I ever received in my entire life, period, was when a mentor told me that in any moment we have one of two choices. Either we can hold the vision, or we can hold and get caught up in our circumstance. And so what I would leave you with is to just remember to hold the vision, not the circumstance. And that in every moment, it's a choice. Every moment, even the small ones, it's a choice to come from our vision.
Okay, vision keepers. Don't forget that when you put your job description together for your business, the very first thing on there should be keeper of your vision. Jen and I are cheering you on. We love you. Keep shining your light. Your clients are waiting. Bye, everybody. Don't forget to hit subscribe so I can keep getting you weekly content to grow your business that is relevant, authentic, and effective, so you can get out there and shine your light and be the messenger that you're here to be, because your clients are waiting for you.